I actually have a vision of you being blindfolded, of you being spanked, of you being in so much pleasure. And I know that if you follow all of the things that we talked about today, you will get to that place. I'm Hannah Johnson, the Libido Fairy, and this is Phone a Fairy, an opportunity for women to express themselves freely on matters related to the sexual health of their romantic relationships. This is my phone number, and you can text this number below if you would like to be entered into a queue to be featured on a future episode. So we'll welcome our first caller for today.
Yeah, so last weekend I was with my partner and he asked me, what do I want? And I literally froze and had no idea what to say when he asked me that.
Yeah, I totally can appreciate how that's a challenging question. I'm curious if you could tell me a little bit more about when he asks you, what do you want? What's happening in your body in that moment?
Honestly, I freeze because I don't even know where to start. I am feeling very overwhelmed in what if he judges me for what I like, but also I don't even know what I want to try.
When you think about the past experiences that you've had in sex, are there things that you've experienced that you have really, really enjoyed?
Absolutely. There have absolutely been some times that, like, there's two main examples that come up in my life. I can tell you about this one experience that I had where the lighting and the mood was just set for me. And I recall just laying there and just taking it all in, the vastness of the experience. And I remember the smells so vividly, like the lighting, the music, all of the things in that experience was what really turned me on.
And when you were turned on, how did you feel in your body? How did you know that you were turned on in your body?
I felt relaxed and very juicy. That's really the one word that I can think of to explain how I felt in the moment.
Relaxed and juicy.
Yes.
Amazing. And when you think about an experience where you were turned off or where something that you tried didn't really work for you or you didn't like it, what did that no feel like in your body?
I feel like I had a meh feeling at the end, just very unsatisfied, very, I could not do that again and be happy.
And were there sensations that were happening in your body when you felt a no, like maybe a tensing or a cringing or distraction or anything like that?
I feel like maybe a tension in my abdomen and definitely my pelvis. And also I think I was really dry.
That's a great awareness. That's a great awareness. What I will say, though, is that wetness is not always an indication of arousal. You can be mentally turned on and aroused and not be wet, and you can also be wet and not aroused. So in your case, the dryness may be an indicator that you're not turned on. It could also just be an indicator that maybe you need some more lubrication or assistance with an external lube. But anyway, back to the point that we were making before. So you've shared with me now that you have experiences in the past where you were in pleasure. You know what a yes feels like in your body, which feels relaxed and juicy. And you know what a no feels like in your body, which feels like a tension in your abdomen and in your pelvis. Is all that correct?
Yeah, I think that's right. I think so, yeah.
Okay, amazing. So this is the foundation for you to really start to figure out what it is that you want. So that scene that you have with the lighting and the mood and the smells and all of those things, the first thing that I would have you do is write down everything from those circumstances that you know got you into that relaxed, juicy feeling with as much detail as you possibly can. That's your starting list to share with your partner. This is what I like, so you can recreate some of those experiences. Then, if you want to try new things, you're basically going to approach it like you're at a restaurant where you don't speak any of the language that's on the menu. So you're going to have to choose some things from a menu and just put them in your mouth and give them a try and see how your body responds. But you know, based on what you've already shared with me, that your body responds yes with that relaxed, juicy feeling and responds no with that tension in your abdomen and your pelvis. So when you're trying things from your little sexy menu, you're just going to tune in and see What is my body feeling? How is my body responding to this? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I think I understand, like, basically just picking things off of a menu and then seeing how I respond.
Exactly. Exactly. Do you know or have a menu that you could try some things from?
No. And I think that's the part that's the hardest for me is that I don't even know what I don't know, and I don't even know what to even try off of a menu because I don't have a menu.
Amazing. So you're totally not alone in that. It's actually so hard to answer the question, what do you want, when you don't have a list of options or you don't have a menu in front of you. So I've actually created a free resource called the Likes and Limits Checklist that has over 500 playtime options. And you can download that. It's in the description box below. And it has all the playtime options you can go through with your partner and follow your curiosity and take those into a bedroom session where you're just playing, you're just exploring and really figuring out what makes my body feel relaxed and juicy and excited and what doesn't feel good to me.
Yeah, that sounds great. I am really looking forward to giving that a try because I think that'll help me just know what to even start trying.
Amazing. Do you have any other questions for me while I'm here?
No, but thank you for really giving me that foundation for moving forward and trying to answer that question better. I think that this is really going to help my partner and I. So thank you.
You're so welcome. I just wanted to add one more thing because sometimes I know from my experience when I've tried new things in the bedroom in the past, or really just new things in general, I am a little bit of a perfectionist and I put a lot of pressure on myself to get things right or get it perfect the first time I try something or do something. And so, my recommendation to you as you try these new things is to set aside time in the bedroom where you're really just playing, you're just exploring, you're just giving yourself permission to be in the rawness, the messiness, the realness, the vulnerability of it, because that's where you're going to have the most connection and the most intimacy with your partner. It's not from things going perfect, it's from being in experiences where you're just really attuned and really present in the moment and being vulnerable, which is what trying new things is all about. So I just want to give you that permission slip to just play and have fun and not put pressure on yourself for it to have to be perfect or to know what the right answer is.
Appreciate that because I know that as we navigate this, I'm sure some things are not going to go right, and yeah, I think I might be a little bit discouraged to go back to that menu if something doesn't go right. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate your time. Caller one didn't know how to answer the question, what do you like in the bedroom, when her partner asked her? It's really simple figuring out the answer to that question. First, you take a list of everything that you like from the past, and that's your starting point. Second, you figure out how does my body respond to something when I try something new, and what is a yes and what is a no for me. And then it's just as simple as that. You try new things and then listen to how your body responds. This is my phone number, and you can text it now to be entered into a queue to be featured on a future episode. Let's see if there's another caller ready. All right, we've got caller number 2 on the line. Caller 2, welcome. Could you share a little bit about what's going on in your sex life, please?
Hi, yeah. Um, I want to create a safer, more open dialogue about exploring fantasies and kink with my partner. When I try and bring it up, they become closed off and I end up feeling kind of judged or shut down. This makes me hesitate to initiate further. I'm wondering what advice you have to help with communication strategies and to help initiate the conversation so we can navigate it as a team.
This is such a good question. Thank you so much for bringing this here. I know it takes a lot of courage to start to open up around your fantasies, and I can imagine it's also really tough for you to feel like your partner's shutting down these kinds of conversations. If possible, could you share a little bit more about what's happening in that moment? Like, what's the context where you're bringing this up? What are you saying? How is he responding? Just so I can understand how you're already communicating about this and what's not working.
Yeah, so it's a relatively new conversation trying to bring up, but um, kind of just sharing things that I'd like to possibly try in the bedroom, and getting an almost like, oh, you want to try that? That's kind of weird feedback. So that makes me kind of be like, okay, never mind.
Yeah. Are you open to sharing a little bit about some of the things that you are bringing, some of the things that you'd like to try?
Yeah, I think so. Um, I just want to be a little more adventurous, like even trying like being blindfolded or like spanking and things like that. Nothing too out there at the moment, but just inviting a little play, I guess.
I love that you described it as play. And I'm wondering when you bring these things like the blindfolding and the spanking and you're sharing it with your partner, is the tone that you're bringing it with related to the play that you want to have? Because sometimes the way that we communicate and the tone that we're bringing it with sets our partner up for success or failure. So you really want there to be playfulness in your sex life related to the blindfolding and the spanking and the fantasies. When you're approaching your partner with it, does it feel like play when you're communicating, or what are you feeling in your body when you're trying to communicate this?
Feeling nervous, honestly. I don't think I bring it very playfully, which I could probably work on, but usually probably just nervous to even bring it up.
Yeah. And can you imagine if you were on the receiving end of a communication coming from your partner and he was coming towards you and he was like, "Oh, I'm really tense and really awkward and afraid to share this thing with you." The way that you might interpret that thing is, "Oh, this thing that you're going to bring to me is a little bit weird," or "It is a little bit awkward," or like you're already bringing in the fear into the conversation instead of coming with like ownership of your desires and really feeling confident in, this is what I want. I'm really excited about this. I really want to play with you. And I'm just curious if there was a little bit more play in your communication and a little bit more lightness in your communication and inviting him in instead of this tenseness or this nervousness that you're bringing to the communication. I think maybe there might be more openness to it. What do you think?
I think that makes tons of sense, honestly.
Mm. When you think about him saying that it's weird, I wonder what your internalization of that is on the other side. Because, yeah, maybe he thinks it is a little weird, but that may not mean that he's completely closed off to it. So I'm also wondering when you're taking in him saying, "Oh, that's a little weird," you're saying he's closing off, but I'm wondering if his response is then causing you to just shut it down and close it off instead of, again, bringing potentially playfulness into it and saying, "Yeah, like it is a little weird. Do you want to get a little weird with me? Do you want to try something new together?" What do you think if you followed up with, again, with more playfulness, what his reaction might be to that instead of, yeah, just what your reaction is right now?
I think that the conversation would go a lot further because I think you're right. I think when he's like, oh, that's kind of weird, I shut down and I'm like, okay, you don't want to do it? Okay.
Totally. You're like right away giving up. You're like,
Hmm.
he's not an immediate yes. He's not totally open and giving me the response that I want. So I'm just going to close off. I'm just going to pull back and shut it down completely. Right.
Yes.
Okay. I want you to stand for your desires. I want you to stand proudly and I want to be spanked. I want to be blindfolded. It's going to be so much fun. And I really want you to do this with me. And we're going to have such a great time together and really bring that energy into the request. And I really think that he'll play off your energy. What I would also say is if some of the things that you're requesting feel like they're a little too intense or a little too much for him, you can collaborate. So if blindfolding and spanking is like a 10 out of 10 intensity or weirdness level for him, maybe you collaborate with him and talk with him about, okay, if that's a 10, what would a 5 be? So maybe it's not spanking, maybe it's rubbing a feather on your body or using some other type of sensation toy that's not impact, for example. Do you think that there's a compromise of something that you could try that would be in the realm of sensation that would be a 5 out of 10 instead of a 10 out of 10 that he might be more open to?
I do. I think that's a really good point to collaborate and try and figure out if he's not fully there yet, what we can do together to kind of bridge that gap.
Hmm. Absolutely. There's Emily Morse is an amazing sex educator, and she has this 3 T's framework for communication about sex. It's so good. It's called timing, tone, and turf. And so when you're talking about sex, remembering these 3 T's, which is at what time are you communicating about sex? So when you have these conversations, is it at a time where you both are feeling open, relaxed, you're both on the same page? Maybe it's at a time where you just both had a really relaxing shower or a bath together or something like that, or you are both full and it's after dinner and you feel really connected. So timing being super important. The second one is tone. So that's kind of what we've talked about already, like coming in with a very playful tone. A lot of warmth, a lot of openness is going to dictate the receptivity of your partner. And then turf, which is the location. So not having conversations about sex in the bedroom, but rather on neutral turf. So in places where you both are on equal playing field, like on the couch or out on a walk or on a date night, or places that are just a little bit more neutral for both of you. Having that as the container for your communication, I think will also facilitate a little bit more productive conversations between the two of you. What are your thoughts on that? Are you doing some of those 3 T's or not?
Not really, especially the turf one. Usually these conversations are brought up in the bedroom.
Okay, great. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to set up a conversation with your partner for a time when you're both going to be really relaxed and open. I want you to ask him first for consent to have a conversation. So invite him in, say, hey, partner, name, Joe, whatever. I would love to have a conversation with you that feels a little bit vulnerable to me. Do you have a time in mind that would be the best for you to be the most open and receptive? He'll tell you, oh, I think maybe after dinner tonight, I'll be most open. Okay, great. And when you sit down to that conversation, have the conversation in a place, either on the couch or still at the dinner table, or take him out on a walk. And you guys just have the conversation on that neutral turf so that he will be more open, more receptive, and on an even playing field with you in that conversation. Do you think you can do that?
Yeah, I think I can do that.
Do you think that he'd be receptive to that invitation?
I definitely think he would be more receptive to it than how it's been happening before. So, yeah.
What do you think is going to stop you from having a productive conversation? If you imagine, I didn't hear 100% yes. I heard, okay, he might be a little bit more receptive. What do you think is going to get in the way for him?
Honestly, I think it'll be me closing off the conversation if he's not feeling it as much as I would like him to.
Okay, so you're going and expecting a response. You're setting him up a little bit for failure. Like you're like, he has to respond perfectly in the way that I want him to respond. Otherwise, I'm going to close off and I'm not going to continue the conversation, is kind of what I see happening. Is that right?
Yes, I would say so.
Okay. And like, no shade on you. It's so normal to do that and to have an expectation and to really want that. I want to just really encourage you to come to this conversation with open space for him, to have the emotions that he might have, to have the response that he might have if he feels a little bit defensive or a little bit concerned or isn't as excited as you are. The best thing you can do in response to that is just stay open, stay grounded, stay curious about why he might be reacting in that way. Ask him what he's feeling when you're bringing these things up. Give him space to have his response to it so it can be a true collaboration instead of this one-sided, I want it to be this way or otherwise it's not going to happen. How does that land for you?
It lands well. It makes me think, and I need to take your advice of, maybe it's a not yet, what can we do that's an in between?
Totally. And what do you think that you need to do to be able to feel grounded and resourced going into that conversation so that you can have space for his emotions and have space for him to respond the way that he's going to respond?
Definitely just try and get out of my head and, really be open and receptive to whatever his response may be.
What gets you out of your head?
Um, Probably going on a walk would be the best thing to do before I talk to him.
Okay, amazing. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to go on a walk first and then calm your mind, open yourself to the possibility on your walk, envision it going well. On the walk, cultivate the excitement, the playfulness, the curiosity, the openness, and then come back and invite him to go on another walk with you so that you're still in that grounded space and you have control and you guys are on an even playing field on the 3 T's: timing, tone, and turf. Sound good?
That sounds amazing, yes.
Caller 2, I actually have a vision of you being blindfolded, of you being spanked, of you being in so much pleasure. And I know that if you follow all of the things that we talked about today and implement them with your partner, you will get to that place. You will get to experience that because you deserve it. And so I just really want you to keep asking for it, keep owning that you deserve that desire. And I know that your partner will follow you into that.
That sounds amazing. I want to see that vision come true. So thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much for being so vulnerable and so open with me today, caller 2. I really, really appreciate you.
Thank you.
So caller 2 was having a really hard time expressing her fantasies and kinks and desires to her partner, but she was actually making some mistakes in her communication that a lot of other people make. As far as the way that she was expressing it, she was coming with a lot of fear and a lot of uncertainty instead of coming with a playful tone. Remembering the 3 T's of timing, tone, and turf, that tone piece was really missing, as well as the turf element. The other mistake that caller 2 was making was expecting her partner to respond in a certain way, otherwise she would shut down. So it was really important for her ahead of the conversation to resource herself enough so she could go in with openness and curiosity and really allow her partner space to have whatever emotional reaction came up for him. Okay, it looks like we have another caller. Caller 3, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you tell me a little bit about what is happening right now in your sex life?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, for one, thank you so much for taking my call. I've been following you for so long and utterly obsessed. So, this is such an honor. But my question is, I feel a bit of disconnect between my mind and body during foreplay with my partner. It just feels like I have struggle with feeling present, and when I force myself to be more present and in my body, the forcing honestly makes it so much worse. Do you think you have any help or assistance you could provide there?
100% yes. This is actually such a common challenge that we support women with inside of our Intimacy Accelerator program. So I have so many tools for you on this, which is so great. Could you tell me a little bit more about when you go to that place that feels disconnected, what's actually happening? Like, what are you thinking about? What's happening in your body? What are you noticing in that moment?
Yeah, so it almost feels like I'm floating above myself, like I'm kind of like a little angel cloud above my body and just kind of like watching it happen. Um, yeah, that's kind of the best way that I have to describe it.
And are you thinking anything when you're floating in that angel cloud, or you're just looking down at yourself?
I'm definitely thinking like I want to be in my body. Like, why am I not present in the moment instead of feeling like a third party kind of just observing things happen?
Okay, got it. And is there anything in particular? I know you said this is kind of happening during foreplay. Are there any acts or things specifically that trigger you to go into that floating place? Like anything that's happening specifically before you go there?
If anything, I feel like it's when my partner touches me in places that maybe my body isn't quite ready for. Um, yeah, I think that's when it triggers it.
That is super, super insightful information. Have you tried slowing down? Do you do any foreplay? Like, what's happening before sex that could potentially get your body ready? Or are you just jumping right into grabbing your boobs? Or it's actually one of my friends and I, and that's in the sex space, we call it the Bermuda Triangle, nipple, nipple, vagina. The Bermuda Triangle, that is where people automatically just go to touch. Are you going directly to that, or are you doing things ahead of time to warm up?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think My partner really tries to, I guess, kind of gauge the space and like, make it seem like I'm ready for those certain areas to be touched. But I feel like perhaps maybe there's just not enough time touching other areas that are like less in that Bermuda Triangle. I love that term. Um, yeah. And I've tried voicing that to him, and he's definitely open to helping and guiding the situation more, but I still just feel incredibly uncomfortable even like speaking up and saying anything in the moment. Um like I if he does something that I don't like, I don't even say anything. I'll just like push his head away or wherever he is, like away from that area. Um so yeah, there's kind of a few things going on, I think.
Definitely a few things going on. What do you think you're afraid of in speaking up? If you've told me that he's receptive, that he's willing to work with you on this. What's stopping you from just being able to say in the moment something like, "Hey, that's not really working for me. Could you try this instead?" Do you not know the words? Are you afraid of something happening? What's coming up for you in that?
Yeah, so I think it's a couple of things. For one, I just feel really awkward and don't really feel comfortable speaking up in the moment. At least like using my voice. Like I use like my hand, like I said, and just like push him away a little bit in like a loving way. Um, but yeah, I think also like growing up in like the church, like sex and that kind of thing was really taboo to talk about. And I was almost taught that like whatever, like once you're married, like whatever a guy does to you, like you're just supposed to enjoy it. Um yeah. So I think I feel wrong speaking up even though he's asking me to, but I don't know. I think my indoctrination kind of gets in the way and it just feels wrong to say anything, and that uncomfortability and awkwardness really takes over.
I really, really appreciate your honesty in that. I know there's so many people that can relate to growing up either in the church or in purity culture or just in our culture at large, where talking about sex or expressing things that you like or don't like in the bedroom comes with a layer of potential judgment or shame. So, just major kudos to you for being able to recognize that. And then when you're trying to heal something, there's kind of two routes that you can go. You can either try to, and this is what traditional therapy tries to do, right? You try to like go back into where the programming first started and go figure out like what was the point at which things went off course, and let me try to rework my thoughts around that and change it psychologically. It's really hard to do that. But the other route that you can go is actually just creating a similar experience and having a new positive association so that your brain can learn, actually, this thing that I've associated with bad, wrong, shameful, not right, too much can be brought into the light and put in a new context, and I can have a new positive experience with something that I thought was bad. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to have a conversation with your partner where you let him know that saying in the moment that it's really scary for you to tell him that you don't like what he's doing, and then ask, "Hey, next time we do something in the bedroom, I'm going to say, can you do this instead?" Or, "Hey, I'm not really liking what's happening here. Could you slow down? And what I want you to do is really celebrate me. I want you to really pause in that moment, smile, tell me how much you love me, say how excited you are to do what it is that I want so that you can have a new positive experience." And basically create that container with your partner so that he can know exactly how to respond to you in that moment so that you can have a better experience of speaking up and then be able to be more confident doing that in the future. Do you think that you could do that?
Yeah, that sounds, I really, really like that. I've gone to so many therapists, probably like five or six, and I've never gotten that advice before. I really like the idea of like reprogramming my brain and making a positive association with it. So I love that. I think that's really
Amazing.
good. And I love the him celebrating me in the moment. When you said that, I was like smiling. So I feel like that would feel really good.
I would love for you to even think about, like, what does the celebrating look like? what does he say to you in that moment? Does he say, oh, I love that you just spoke up for what you want. Oh, it's so sexy when you say what you want. Oh, I feel so connected to you when you tell me what you don't like and what you do like. Really thinking for you, like what would be the positive, even if he says, oh, good girl, you want to get a little spicy with it, right? Whatever feels like it would be the most affirming or supportive to you in the moment, that's what I would want you to ask for the celebration.
That's really good. I like that. Like playing the
Okay.
situation in my head out the way I want it to go, and then having
Exactly.
it occur would feel just really real and affirming in the moment,
Yay.
I think.
Okay, I wanted to just circle back to your original question about how you feel disconnected and you're floating above during foreplay. I think we already touched on the issue, which is that sometimes your partner is doing things that you don't like, and that's taking you out of the moment. And that is definitely a part of getting you out of your head. But I also just want to make sure that you have some tools for getting it back into your body. And a couple things I want to just add to that. One is just asking for a pause and then doing something that is connecting with your partner. So just having a pause and then, hey, can we just cuddle together and breathe together for a few minutes? So that would be one thing that you could do in the moment that would really help. And the other thing that we talked about a little bit, but not fully, was just giving yourself more time. Most women take 20 to 40 minutes to really reach peak arousal and be ready for comfortable, pleasurable penetration. That's because there's a lot of stuff going on down there, like blood flow's increasing, lubrication's increasing, the size of your vagina is actually widening and lengthening to make space for something to be inserted. So all of that takes time. And like we said, sometimes when there's rushing or he's going right to the Bermuda Triangle, that's part of what's taking you out. But I would just really encourage you to take more time and maybe even add some nervous system regulation practices at the beginning or a bridging activity, which is something that is a transitionary activity that acts like a bridge between regular life and sexy time. Something like a shower or a walk together or cuddling together or a massage or putting on some music and swaying and dancing together all are really great bridges from regular life to intimate time and give your nervous system time to transition.
Yeah, that sounds really good and feels really safe as well. So thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Which of those activities are you going to do?
I really like the bridging ones. I think the pausing and cuddling could be really good. I think that could also like tie in my uncomfortability with speaking up, like being like, hey, like I'm not quite ready yet. Like let's do this instead. So I like that. And I love a good massage. So we'll probably do that as well.
Amazing. More pleasure for you. And I just want to keep encouraging you to use your voice. I know it can be scary and very vulnerable and uncomfortable to speak up in the bedroom, but the more that you practice it, the more confident you're going to get and the more you're going to feel like you're really getting what you want in the bedroom, and you totally deserve that.
I'm excited to see what is for me at the other side of this. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much for calling, and I really appreciate your vulnerability today.
You're welcome.
So, caller 3 was really struggling with something that is so common for women, which is really disconnecting from the present moment during sex. She expressed that when she's in the moment, she's kind of floating above her body. And what that symbolizes to me is that there's something that's happening in the moment that's just not working for her. So either she's rushing too quickly into touch or things that she's not ready for, or she's just not enjoying the specific thing that's happening in the bedroom, and that's what's causing the disconnect. So what we really wanted to do for her was give her an opportunity or a script for being able to communicate in the moment to her partner. Either I need to pause, or I need to slow down, or I need to do something different than what's already happening. That's it for episode 1 of Phone a Fairy. If you would like to be in the next episode, you can text this number right here to be added to a queue, and we will reach out to you. Thank you so much for watching, and subscribe for the next episode.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! What happened? Did I touch that?
Oh, we'll pause.